Okay, folks, good morning. So we picked up some things yesterday. Now that we know that we're moving forward in a direction that I'm happy with. And instead of getting the little cork, because I'm literally out of cork, this is all I have. We got this is 12 by 12. So I don't think we're going to make any this big, but we definitely would like to make some that are, half of that. That seems like a pretty good idea for the first one. Split this about in half. Make half of those. And again, this is the coverage that we did on the one, and it's pretty, it's flat completely. This is not a warping material, so big fan of little cork sheets. So we're going to set this off to the side, and we're going to make another one. I don't want to get too far away and realize that I want them a certain size, but I think that this and maybe this larger one is fine. If you want to put them together, you can put some dead space in between here. We picked up some lichen there. Now they have the color that I wanted them to have, that we were out of. So we can use this to fill in the gaps. I watched that video yesterday by Joe Bilton, kind of try and dissect. And that's what I do now. I look at pictures of terrain, and I try to dissect how they made it. And as you look at it, you see it all as a whole. But then you start saying, okay, there's like 2 stands of trees there, and they use lichen to fill in the difference, and that seems to be a common denominator, is they use the lichen to kind of fill in between things. We can paint some more plants, because these are good to go. So we'll need to put other ones in there. And yeah, we got some stuff to do this morning. Alright, so I'm going to move the lichen off to the side. And I really like that. I'm pretty much using up all the waste. There's not a whole lot of waste on this. All right. And then this just needs to get the one-shot primer in black or any kind of black. I've just been using the one-shot primer for that. I've been pretty happy with that. So now this is, how many sheets are in here? 4 or 5? 4. So this is about $2 a sheet. It's about $8 for all this. So it's kind of expensive. I mean, really, for what it is. But I'm going to start off with one sheet. We're gonna, I don't know, if I make this twice as big, is it significantly larger? Yes, let's go a little bit. Let's go like, let's make it wider on one end. I really like the fact you can break it off by hand, and you don't really make much of a mess. You don't make any more of a mess breaking it off by hand. Let's get the coffee out of the way. Is there a crack in there? No. Just looks like it. It's all reinforced with a second layer. I'll either make more long ones of these, or this will be the last long one I do. Kidney shaped. It's kidney ridge. That's what we're going with. Let's get this stuff out of here. Okay, so this is about the size of two of them. Like I said, if you had like a group of these palm trees and you wanted to make like a big jungle, you could do stuff like, this. Obviously, you could move through here as well. You could move figures and put the figures in through here, It might just be really difficult to go through. It might be less difficult to go through if you have like a path. I've got sprinkles I can use on the ground, but this won't be the same color as the ground. They'll be a sprinkle color, something in between. Plus we have lichen and stuff that we can move out of the way. I think it'll look pretty darn good. So I don't know that these rocks are really doing much good on there. Just so there's a variety of basic materials. This, of all of it, is probably my least favorite process, what I'm about to do right now. So I find like it just takes a lot longer than it should. All right, let's put I'm gonna need to zoom in a little bit more. Actually, I could just flip it this way. Here's an idea. And this side is less rough than this one. Let's try that. It's not like, oh, I wanted it this way, not this way. It doesn't really matter. I'm going to go ahead and replace this blade. This one's been used and abused. And for those of you keeping track, I already got the Sunday blues yesterday. I'm ahead of schedule. Oh. Only thing I don't like about this entire process is how long it takes the goop to dry. Because even the wash on the palm trees doesn't take that long. I was pleasantly surprised how little amount of time it took. Where'd my cafe go? Here we go. There we go. Good thing I have a lot of replacement blades. That made all the difference in the world. That blade was very dull. I came and looked at this one that I was finishing up in the middle of the day yesterday. I'm like, oh shit, the bottom of it's warping. No, there was just like a little bit like this at the bottom that it was sitting on top of. And I resisted the urge to buy 2 packs of these. I'm like, I'm using one. When I'm done with it, I'll go and get another one. It's not like it's in some faraway place. Hey, it's one of the few things that I've actually been able to source to a local location. Oh yeah, that cuts much better. As I warned you, there may be a Saturday show tomorrow, but there definitely will not be a Sunday show. Not one of those bank holidays in England, is it? On not this Monday, but the following Monday. Will that be like the 5th, 4th? That would be really convenient because I should be back. I'm off on not this coming Monday, not tomorrow, but in a week. And we're gonna stay overnight to go to a wedding, and I'm gonna be back early afternoons. I should have time for a show, but we'll just see how it plays out. Today is Sunday, or isn't it? I'm confused again. Sounds like somebody's on vacation. Is it a bank? When's your next bank holiday? It's Sunday, as I like to say, as people like to say, all day long. I already got the Sunday blues yesterday. I'm getting ahead of myself. I don't like to do things that I think that the things I don't like to do are the things that I figure anybody could do. You know, like, and that goes for the same thing at work. The stuff I don't like to do at work is the stuff that anybody can do at work. And I need to source some rocks because this is like ideal to have some like rock outcropping up here. You know, not huge, but just something some guy can just stand up and like, I dare you to knock me off this rock. I'm not knocking you off the rock. I'm gonna shoot you off the rock. But yeah, if you haven't seen that video, that first of all, I got the video and I'm like, oh crap, it's just gonna be some guy talking, and then there were like all the snippets of the pictures in between. That really made it worth watching. But took me a while to get into his meter, and then I'm like, man, why is this guy talking so fast? But maybe we're all guilty of that. I thought it would make a. Have you seen that video? You probably not. You're out for a walk. It's funny how I'll alternate between watching things on my phone and watching things on the computer. I watched some YouTube stuff on my computer there at the building station, and yeah, it's a lot bigger screen. Resolution's not any better, but it's a lot bigger screen. Next English bank holiday is 25th of August. Scotland has one earlier, I think. Yeah, see, a bank holiday here, well, if the bank is closed, the bank comes up with all kinds of excuses to close. And I think teachers are probably number two, get the most numbers of days off. And then everybody else just works on everything. They'll say, like, hey, you get Juneteenth off or whatever the heck. They come up with all these holidays. I'm like, no, we don't. We get like 4 of them a year. That's it. The video with Storm of Steel did with Joe Bilton. It's well worth watching. It's well worth watching. And it just made me realize we all have our little mannerisms. It should turn into a drinking game. What do you mean turning into a drinking game? Well, anytime Joe touches his nose, you have to take a drink. I was like, man, this guy's got an itch or something, you know. We all have our mannerisms that we do. I'm sure I have one. I don't think it's touching my nose every 10.5 seconds, and it's funny once you see something like that. Like that's all you can see. Like there's this professor that does stuff on Audible, and he's really good. And then you realize that, oh man, this guy's saying a lot. And then once you catch on to that's what he's doing, that's all you hear. It's like it becomes really, really distracting. Yeah, but that video is pretty good, worth watching. I took some stills from my phone of the screen on the computer just for reference. Like no bank holiday till late August, although there's a Scottish bank holiday on the 4th that no one takes. Not even the Scots. It's a holiday that no one takes. Well, then, is it really a holiday? Is it like a special battle? Is it like a remembrance of a battle that nobody was proud to have lost or something? Battle of Culloden or something like that. See, nobody takes that one because it's a loss, so we don't want to celebrate that. I'm telling you, I don't think I have enough palm trees. I gotta. I'm gonna run out. I'm gonna run out before I worry about getting more. But it's like when I bought this. I bought this pack, and I'm like, should I buy 2? I'm like, no, buy 1. If you use all of it up, then go and buy another one. It's not like it's in some really far away place. It's just down the road ish. So it is a store. It's kind of a pain to check out, though. It's like, man, why is it taking so long to get the stuff paid for? All right. So this is the base of this kidney shaped thing. And I may decide that, well, this is about as long as I can make it with that size cord. If I need to do longer, could do another one like this. put a little gap, mind the gap, and just continue it on. Use the lichen to fill in between stuff. So I may. It's too early to say. I may go down the teddy bear route. I may. I don't think I'm going to go down the teddy bear route and carve into it. I think it'd be the teddy bear route, and it's just like it's got to be really thin, and then just paint it as a base. Maybe. I don't know yet. We'll see how good this looks on the Tiny War Games UK Fracasso. So I would call it a fracasso. Well, I shouldn't badmouth it. I shouldn't badmouth it, and here's the reason why. Somebody else bought that company, so I understand, and they had all kinds of problems that they didn't realize that the original owner was having with all existing customers, and they, the company might have been bought by somebody really decent, and they're trying to do a good job, and I don't want to keep them from getting new business because it's not the new owner's fault, as I understand it. All right, let's get Mr. Hot Glue Gun fired up. I can't keep talking about how much I love this hot glue gun, and I don't know if it's just the fact that it dries so damn quick. And I paid a little extra for this Gorilla brand one. I don't know that it makes that much of a difference, but I figure if there's a quality control issue, putting a name brand on something is probably going to resolve some of that. Not, ching chang chung, and then, even though this still is probably made in the same factory, some of the other ones are, but I figure maybe there's some QC involved in this, but there's a difference between spending like $8 on it and like 14 or something like that. So I got the $14 one or whatever it was. I don't think it was more than 20. And it came with all the hot glue things that I'm ever going to need. If I go through all these hot glue things, well, then it's earned its keep. All right. Okay, at this point, what I need to do is, even though this isn't painted, I'm going to take these, because I got the staging area here. I'm going to take these palm trees that are here and go ahead and install them here and then move them off to the side, so I have this staging area for these palms already done. Okay, so I need to go to my pictures. Yeah, I was doing like stuff like this. Like I was taking a picture of it's pretty blurry, but I can find it where it is, of what he has for like his terrain and stuff. And I'm starting like really kind of like scrutinizing it and just kind of dissecting it. Like, okay, there's a base there, and they've got lichen in between it, and as a whole, it looks amazing, right? And you start breaking down all the pieces. Like, how do I get something that looks at least this good? And I start looking at all the pieces and just trying to decipher what exactly is going on there. And there's some trees here that are really, really cool that would be really useful for jungle trees. And they're not the Games Workshop ones. Because these Games Workshop, these fat little chubby bastards, the original ones that are, they were cost prohibitive, and they probably still are if you can find them. But, some of these round type trees and stuff like that go in between them. But he had some really useful stuff to say. Some stuff that, maybe you think about, but you don't really say it out loud and just kind of process it, about the numbers of colors on the palette. And how he just kind of throws color, what is it, slop dash or dash slop or something like that. But I took a picture, for instance, of this French house. Here's one that he did. And the thing that struck me immediately is, it looks very realistic. I don't think that I have that look. I want more negative. Almost like if you take this and you add more black in the corners, I just, it's my style. I mean, this, you could walk up to this. This is exactly what a house would look like. I just have this aversion to using a light color in crevices. I just, it's just goes against the grain of my visualization. That's not to knock it or anything. That's realistic. That's really what the house looks like. You know, it would be really like, it takes a lot of nerve. We'll use nerve for example. Okay, you look at the size of this side of this house right here. The cornerstones and the stone that's in the middle of the house that has the stucco has broken off of it. If it's not the same color, it's damn near the same color, and that's probably correct. But I would find it really hard to get myself to do that, to make them exactly the same color. I would look at this and go like, it's not finished. I need to do something to it. Yeah, there's some, and then I look. This is really, this I can't get into. Like that's just like, wow. Where do you begin? I think you just got to do something small and finish it. Keep tinkering with it. What's it? He had a lot of really good pointers. Like, what is it that you need? Make like a list of different things. This terrain is just made of garbage, basically. It's stuff people would throw away. Almost like the way we're doing this. We're like, oh, that's extra cork. No, it's not. We're going to make things out of it. That's really cool. I could totally see making some kind of a bunker or something like that. Like a Japanese bunker or something. Not for a frontal assault. That would be boring. I would have a really hard time. I know it's realistic. I would have a really hard time if I've got a village like this. And this is exactly what they look like. I'm not knocking him. I'm just saying that it's just a different stylistic choice. I would be fighting these urges all of the time if I built this. All the buildings are basically the same color. And that's how they are. But I'm like, man, I gotta change it a little bit because otherwise it just looks like I only had a few color paints, right? And but that's how it is. Yeah, these type of trees for the jungle. I think they were Lipovek. Got my curiosity up, but I've not seen many Slovak minis around. Lipovek. Anyhow, super useful video. Um, super useful video. I don't think I'd be making every house out of nothing. Like if you look at some of these, the rubble here is amazing. You get lost in the rubble. But you could tell that he makes a lot of this stuff out of scratch. Which is great because he can make it whatever size he wants, but I gotta sub some of the work out. Okay. Let me find my picture of this. Okay, it's from this corner. Just so we can move them out of here and we know what goes in here. So this one is, I think it's like this. No, it's this side. Yep. I'll tell you what, I'm not going to get bogged down in this. I am going to take all these right here that we know are for this, and we're going to put them on here, and then this is going to go together. Put them all in a plastic bag. Now these are all the things that go together. We already chose them. All right, off to the next one. Yeah, just like I'm going to go to that seminar next week with what's his face. Mig Jimenez. And there's no doubt about it, he does amazing stuff. Some of his choices aren't what I would choose. Like, you know, he doesn't have a problem using dusting effects that create a light color in a crevice. I'm not going to do that. It goes against the grain of my existence. Yes, it's realistic. That's how things are. But I can't unsee that, you know? I can't unsee that. So I much prefer to have, you know, like a Matilda. And we've got all these lights fighting each other. All these lights fighting each other. I'd rather have a Matilda. YouTube blocks messages that mention the face bag. Oh, my message didn't post. I said, you see the post from Rapid Fire about the Slovak scenarios. No, I didn't. Oh, they get odds with each other. So here, this is just my stylistic choice. You know, I like a darker color in a crevice. It makes things stand out. It's what I like. It's what I want it to look like a graphic novel. You know, and it's exaggerated. I don't care. That's, you know, some of my... one of my favorite things that I saw from the desert was that one that was made by Oli Kanad or whatever his name is, and his desert stuff is super exaggerated with the black lining, you know. So I am excited to try some of these new products by that I've never used before by Mig Jimenez, but I'm not going to all of a sudden start changing the way I do some stuff. So. I'm gonna bring some of my Africa Corps tanks and teach him how to do them. No, I don't need him to, you know, I don't need any more followers. We're good. All right, so what are we gonna do here? Some of these have level 3s. We need to worry about level 2 before we worry about level 3. So this stuff. We can certainly get this more manageable. I didn't realize that YouTube did that. They're odds with each other, huh? Does Facebook doesn't ban you mentioning YouTube on there? Well, I think we're going to need some bigger pieces. I love this material. And I'm new to using cork. That was our trade here in the United States. We got guns, and you guys have got an unhealthily close relationship with the Portuguese. Yeah, I think this all comes from Portugal. This is super cool material. It's super, super cool. It's not really that messy. I think it's just YouTube auto moderation being a little biatch. Yep. Big brother. More like little bitchy sister. Hey, there's enough money for YouTube and Facebook to make each other. They don't need to beat each other's throats. We're going to really push this to the limit of, let's see if this will warp type of thing. I think we'll be okay. I've got pretty good confidence in this now. It hasn't warped at all. Oh. We've got some drippage. I didn't shake it 3 times before I put it down. I think that's good for starters. We're going to have to go to level 3 for a couple of the big ones. I don't know where the big ones are going to be, but yeah. The not too specific Pacific. You don't have to hold anything down with like a big weight. I mean, it's just like, I can slap somebody with this. Get away from me. Where's Mitch when you need him? You've been Mitch slapped. I did watch some videos. I had a series of unfortunate events happen yesterday. It's not a big deal, but it just kind of bugs me. And I gotta believe I'm going to be able to solve it. But it has to do with watches. I'm a big fan of Swiss Army watches. But the ones I like, they don't make anymore. You know, and plus they go to work, so I don't want something like, I would never be one of those people that would have like one of those Apple watches or whatever. You know, something that's $400, just too easy to scratch up with things. You know, inadvertently being, you know, careless, not being careless on purpose. And I had to replace the battery on one of them. I think all of a sudden it stopped. So it is watch models that I wear. They're like, I think $120 when they're new. They don't make them anymore. So I've bought several of them, probably 3 or 4, on eBay, and just changed the battery. If they've got a scratch or two, it's not a big deal as long as it doesn't look bad, because then if you have put other scratches on it, it's not a big deal on it. So anyways, so one of them is time to replace the battery. I looked through my battery set. I was out of them, ordered them on Amazon, replaced the battery. It's still not working. So I'm like, I know I got another one here. I pulled the other one, and it's like, it stopped as well. And I had left the battery in there too long, and it broke apart. So I've got two damaged work watches. Like, I don't want to take this one to work. It's got a leather band, and I'm working in a concrete-ish area. I don't want to trash this thing. I don't think I spent more than $30 for any of them. So I was watching some videos this morning to see if I can do a refurb on one of them. I don't know. That's not my skill set, but I'm myopic. I'm detail oriented, and I have YouTube, so I get a little bit more bold in doing things like that. But you can't take it to a watch shop because it'll cost you more than a new watch. So it's not like I just got them yesterday. I mean, I've had one of them probably 9 years, maybe even 10 years. So just a little unfortunate that I went from like not basically down to no work watches. So I did check and see if there was any more on YouTube, and on YouTube on eBay, and I may pick up another $30 one or whatever if I can't get these two to work. But they're the same watch, so I can use them for spare parts, and I don't want to get in there with a screwdriver. One of them just has the battery melted in there. I don't think it's really bad, but at this point I don't have anything to lose by tinkering with it. Okay, it already doesn't work. I replaced the battery in the one I thought the battery went, and it literally, you could see it moving, but it's not moving, so it must be something a little bit more involved than that. That was just kind of unfortunate, because I can't be without a watch. I'm not one of those people, you don't need a watch anymore, you bring your phone everywhere. I say, I gotta wear a watch. I'm a watch person. And like I said, I don't want a watch that's too expensive, because then when something like this happens, it's debilitating. But it's just unfortunate that they both happened at the same time. Or one had already happened, I just wasn't aware that it had already happened. Look at this, it's like a freaking puzzle, man, I love it. I figured this got to be one of those videos where the guy with the gloves, I don't know what his name is, he's got like a lack of vowel names, whatever. It's YMMYA, MMMS, YYYYY, KKK, something like that. Whatever his name is, and he does a bunch of refurbs on things. Like, he'll find like I've seen him do stuff like an old firearm, toys, die-cast toys and stuff like that he'll find, just been abused, and he'll like strip them all down and clean them with it's actually a really satisfying thing to watch, but he's got gloves on. I don't know. Maybe he's got some crooked spider tattoos he doesn't want anybody to see. Or I don't understand why people do that. I don't want people to recognize me by my hands. I'm like, are your hands that unusual? Do you have web fingers or something? I actually like doing this quite a bit. Quite a bit. And you can't put the glue ahead of time and then just going after. You have to kind of do one at a time, but at the same time, it dries immediately. You don't have to wait like hours. It's not like it's epoxy or something. Perfect. And I may have to stop the feed because it might get a little loud in here because we got a house full of people. So, warning. Running a side hustle as a hostel. No. I did finally get around to watching that movie, and I wasn't impressed. Didn't make me want to watch any more of them. Okay, let's see how old Kidney Palm Ridge looks like. All right, now. Outcroppings out here. Yeah, that YouTube channel called The War Room, speaking of Kidney Ridge, has these really super tactical videos. I believe it's called The War Room. Super tactical stuff. You know, that's the kind of stuff that I like. I like super tactical things and tactical detail. And it was on, they only did one video for Alamein. And there was stuff in that video I'd never heard of before. Of course, I'm not an Alamein expert. I've actually never really looked into the battle. It's a little too like, okay, well, the end is coming. Like, there's no point in playing this. That's why I like Crusader, not Alamein. Because Crusader, it's like, you know, it's still going to go on for another year. But, yeah, Alamein, they're getting, that's like, you're done in North Africa. I mean, other than Tunisia. But anyhow, so there's a Kidney reminded me of Kidney Ridge, but I don't think that's there's one battle where the Indians were surrounded or something like that. I'm like, I never even heard about that before. Like, that's cool. When something's unusual and I haven't heard about it before, it gets me excited. Not like, man, there's something else I don't know. Like, there's lots of stuff I don't know, but man, it's cool to find things that you're interested in that you haven't heard about before. Is it Operations Room? Yeah, maybe that's what it is. That's a really interesting channel. It has some super tactical maps and things like that. Right down my alley. That's one thing I was going to get at the Imperial War Museum is they got this little sign about this big, this little placard, and it says Operations Room. And I was like, oh, it'd be perfect for in here. But I'm like, you want how much for it? No. Nope. No, those are post-COVID prices. Go away. It's really cool to be able to use all this crap. Yeah, I was watching one of the bulge ones. They have 5 or 6 different bulge ones. I'm not a bulge fan. I'm really not a... It's time time to piss people off here. It's not to piss people off. It's just to have preferences. I'm not a market garden fan. I'm not a market garden fan at all. And there's multiple reasons why I'm not a market garden fan. And it's not because of the British paratroopers. That's actually a good part of the market garden thing. But, you know, there's too many U.S. paratrooper stuff. Like, okay, we haven't done enough of that in Normandy. But, you know, the Germans are either SS, which I'm not a fan of, or the stupid Panzer brigades, which I'm really not a fan of. Or like really crap units. It just, I don't know, it just, not a fan. Can't like everything. What's up, Francois? We're over here in the bungle in the jungle. I still think I went about this the correct way. Like, do the terrain first, get excited about the terrain, then you can paint all the little nips and stuff. Nips and marines. It could be a Philippine type place. It's just there's going to be Marines. We're going to make the infantry interesting. I have a squad or two of Rangers, which it's funny because prior to reading this book that I'm reading right now, and also the MacArthur book that I'm reading at the same time. Well, I put that one off a little bit. If you say Rangers, I immediately think, okay, Pointe du Hoc, and then I don't know what else they did. But man, they were all over the place and a lot of different places in Italy and. So I don't think I will use my Rangers for Pointe du Hoc. It's a bit too vertical, a bit too static. There's some battlefield miniatures. Rangers that I have. This is a lot of fun. This really is a lot of fun. And I think watching Joe's video and I saw like some of his terrain, his palm stuff looks. I'm ready to jump on the ground coverage soon. But I'm probably going to do I'll probably not do any ground cover until I do this one, that one, and then that one. You know, me putting the little grass is what I'm talking about. I think I've got some. You know, I want to do stuff the right way. I don't want to have to go back and fix it. So. The bungle in the jungle. Yeah, I got all kinds of scenario names going around in my head, but should be able to use this for other stuff as well. Not just Pacific. I prefer battles. that are going on the flank overlooting the battles of Panzer Brigade 104th, 107th. I just don't like the Panzer Brigades, and I've told you why I don't like them. They don't have any unit markings, or they do, but they're not like they're too ad hoc, you know. And it's the 135th scale modeler in me wanting to like read about different units. Like I think I don't do modern stuff, but like the U.S. Army getting into Francois territory here. I don't know how long he's been out, but the U.S. Army has gone to something. They've done away with divisions, and now they got these, battle groups or whatever. And I'm like, I know there's a reason for it, but I'm like, I'm not interested. Go talk to somebody else, because it's just the division stuff is interesting. And I'm reading that book about Italy, and one thing that's really prominent that it mentions, they'll be like, and I'm just going to make up some numbers here, okay, so don't quote me on this. Talking about, say, maybe the 45th Division, the guys that had the, what's that Native American, that thunder eagle, whatever, that phoenix symbol, which is a cool symbol for the division. And it might have like 3 infantry regiments in it, right? And it'll mention them all the time. Like won't say like, 45th Division. It'll say 136th, 137th, and 139th Regiment. So it talks in regiments a lot. Regiments don't have symbols, so I think in symbols a lot. So when you talk about regiments, I'm like, I disassociate it with it. So why can't I figure what the hell that is? I'm talking about that Native American. The cool. It's the phoenix. It's the Native American phoenix. Anyways, they're talking regiments a lot, and I'm like, which regiment goes with the same thing? When you're talking about Panzer Division, some of the Panzer Divisions have the regiment is the same number as the Panzer Division. That makes sense, but because some were converted from something else, you'll have the 7th Panzer Regiment is in the 5th Panzer Division, and it's not always the same. Sometimes it matches up, but many times it does not, and it's like it just adds a level of confusion. You got out in 2012. Okay, so you've been out a little while. Yeah, I got that one show that was recommended. I think Mitch recommended it to me to watch, the one with Chris Pratt in it. I forget what the hell it is, where he's like supposed special ops team and he finds out that the government's behind, he's worried about his guys, and they're basically like set him up to fail kind of thing. I started watching like one episode. I'm like, I can't watch this. I'm not even in the military. I'm getting so fucking angry. I'm getting so angry at the government. I can't watch this anymore. You know which one I'm talking about. I can't remember what the hell it's called, but he's like, "Oh, it's really good." I said, "Mitch, I can't watch this. I'm getting too angry. Get me all fired up." And I'm not ex-military. I can only imagine what it does to you guys. Some larger pieces here. Not available in stores. I forgot I was kind of in a rush when I went to Hobby Lobby yesterday, and I should have looked around and see if they had more things like this. This is not mine, it's Marty's. And I need to take a picture of it outside because sometimes I look at it, it looks awesome. And sometimes I look at it and it's just like it lacks depth. I think it looks, I think it's the color it should be. Which is funny because I've never done this patina before, but it is a custom color. I didn't just grab one. I had to mix two. I had to mix a light. It's Western Approaches patina. It's like a Western Approaches green and a Western Approaches blue, and there's a mix of both of them together. And I gave it a wash, and I think it turned out pretty well. You know, I personally would have made it out of stone, and made it look mildewy. That would have been my preference, but it's not for me. And you know, I don't make a habit of painting. I don't paint things for people. Actually, here's the way it works. I do paint for people, but they're not allowed to ask. Well, they can ask if I'll paint it for them, but it's not going to do them any good. I basically volunteer to do stuff. It's like, oh. He's like, hey, give me some ideas on how to paint this patina thing. I'm like, I have never done it before. I'm giving somebody advice about something I've never done, and the person I'm giving advice to is not a painter. You're going to fail written all over it in so many ways. I'm like, just send it over to me. I'll paint it for you, and I'll I'll develop a new skill. See, now I know how to do it, and when you come over to Mitch's, you can pick it up. I don't go to the post office. I'm not a post office person. The post office has really bad hours. They're only open during lunch hour, which what I call is holy hour. Like I don't want to sit there at lunchtime and spend, my limited amount of time being frustrated by these guys being excruciatingly inefficient. I'll wind up in the evening news. Or the equivalent of the evening news now on the local Facebook page. Facebook page for your community. You guys have those all around, right? You guys even have those in England, right? Scotland, wherever. Facebook page, Aberdeen's happenings or whatever. Facebook. I'm sure there is one. It's actually really convenient to have something like that. But you get people on there that just get on there and it's like a license to just bitch about everything. Hey, I can bitch as much as the next person, but man, everything I say isn't a bitch. There's some people on there that are just like, they're never happy unless, they're not going to be happy until they're dead. Okay, this has a lot of parts, so let's strengthen this with a solid piece. Same thing over here, okay? We're going to put solid with pieces. This is fucking fun. It is. I might even go to level 4 on some of them. Actually, it's not people bitching on those things so much. It's like they need to find each other and like come to blows. Like there's like really bad stuff that goes on there. The appeal of gaming with the Germans is their use of ad hoc units and Kampfgruppen. I agree. I just don't like that. I just don't like the Panzer Brigade units. Like, they don't have symbols and shit. It's like, sorry, Overloon. I've heard of Overloon. The appeal of the Germans is they're just a great enemy. They just are. I mean, it's just they're it's a really good balance. Plus, they're cool looking bad guys. They're rat bastards, but they're still cool looking bad guys. Like, I think the American World War II stuff, like, doesn't look very good. However, with that said, the challenge for that for me is make something that looks kind of boring look interesting. Oh, we're out. We need to reload. We need to reload. This came with 75 sticks, and I may have used 5. So, I don't think we're going to run out anytime soon, but if I get to use all 75 sticks before this thing dies, then it was a good purchase. Okay. Let's get everything on this level before we do anything else. Let's do that. Every World War II thing has some kind of appeal. You know, the appeal of doing Japanese is you get to go all the time. I don't know. That's what the appeal is to me. I think the Japanese are probably going to be the best NPCs ever. You know, where they could just kind of be on autopilot. Although I really like the idea of running this game by committee. Because it's not about winning. It's about the story that happens. And I don't know if that makes any sense to anybody other than, I mean, I think Mitch gets it. You know, I mean, I've played enough competitive stuff. It's not like I don't want to be competitive, but I had a friend of mine I used to game with. He didn't want to be competitive, and you know, if your competition comes into the way of you having, you know, of you're gonna be an asshole or something like that, okay, I can see that, but it's good to be competitive. I think I have this outcropping. I think this is how I'm going to have to approach gaming with this. Like, let's make the thing look like the place. Let's get transported somewhere else. The figures will paint themselves. I mean, that's easy to get. The more of this I add, the heavier it gets. Yeah, everything has, like, you know, an appeal. You know, the appeal of American tanks is the freaking nicknames. There's no doubt about that. And the fact that no two look the same, which, no two German tanks look the same either, but you kind of expect it from them. But no two American tanks look the same. They got all kinds of accoutrement on them. This is going to eat up a lot of palm trees. There could be 10 palm trees on here. It's all right. We got plenty of them. Storage of this stuff's going to be interesting. Okay, this is going to be the... Make a high point there. Okay, I think we're going to leave this as is for now. I'm going to unplug this. All right, let me make myself another coffee. I'll be right back. All right. I think Ben was mentioning yesterday that the whole micromark thing, where micromark or somebody else, where they take something big and turn it into something small. I think that makes sense. Then you have some of that conf group and individuality. You know, you don't have like, you know, three squads. You're doing a platoon action. And all the three squads are exactly the same. You know. Regardless if it's Russians or something like that, you know. You have a squad of like, 13 and a squad of 8 or something. Irregularity. With irregularity comes personality. Let's do a little bit of. Actually, what I don't enjoy is doing anything of this hobby what I would consider being really messy. Like this is like super non-messy. This is like clean and orderly and shit. But you start like slinging. Oh, well, how did that work? It's unplugged. How did the goo get the goo to come out? I guess it's still hot enough. All right, let's take a look and see how this looks. We're not gonna wind this up yet. We're just gonna move it off to the side here. All right. So we're clear of palm trees, right? Okay. These are this style palm trees. The other one are the the fan palm. This is yet a different kind. I'm going to. There's some unique ones here. Let's not use these. Let's go to the traditional ones for this big one. I have a lot more to choose from. And a lot more of these to paint. Okay. That's what she said. Man, it was so long ago, I don't know what it was in reference to. It's funny because in the 80s, we used to say that. Prior to, what made that was The Office, which, I'm not a fan of it. I don't think it's that funny. It's a little too, deadpan. It's okay, my wife didn't like it either, so it's not like, she wanted to see it and I didn't. We both suck. Let's put one of these. Let's see what we. Okay. Couple little guys. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. How big's that other one? Is just okay. So there's one oddball. We'll do one oddball. How's it going? Oh, we're playing with our coconuts here. Okay, let's start off with that. Let's see how we can piece those together. Why is there goo coming out? I guess that's hot enough just to go those through. There we go. That is what she said. I didn't know you and her were on speaking terms. Perfect. All right. Whoop. Let's not do that. Let's put this guy here. I really had no intention on making these removable. This is just kind of a, I want to put them on here so I can visualize how they're all, they're not all crammed together kind of thing. Okay. But the fact that they're removable means I can put goop and paint it and stuff and get them out of the way. You've been hooked on that cards game since you recommended it. I'd like to have a little bit of history for each card. Aren't the cards beautiful? They really are beautiful. I don't like how many players I don't recognize what the hell their player name is. Because it's not in, English letters. It's just annoying. It's like, who's this guy again? Yeah, I'm pretty addicted to it as well. I didn't spend a dime, and I don't plan on spending any money on it. But the artwork, the artwork is one of the reasons why I'm doing the Pacific. I know it sounds stupid, but the artwork's beautiful. The artwork is beautiful. And some of it is, model kit art, which I'm a big fan of. Not all of them, but there's a lot of model kits that have really good art in them. There's a lot of it is propaganda posters, some things I've never seen before. And we're going to need more palm trees in this. Well, that's good. I didn't think I had too many palm trees. We're not. I had to get a restraining order crazy like crazy. Don't tell me she spent all your money while you're out in the sandbox. Let's put this one here. And I found another use for this big old thing. That's like a weapon. That's like a weapon you can use in places where you're not allowed to have a weapon. Alright, this is a little too long. Yeah, that was beautiful. What kind of deck do I run? Well, this may surprise you what I'm about to say. The thing I like the least about the game is making your own deck. Okay? I made one recently I'm running a tournament in. I like just, the way I play war games is like you have a situation and like you got to do the best you can with what you have. I don't like pick and choose exactly how many, because then it's like if things don't fall, it's like too much pre-planning, and when things don't work right, it's a pain in the ass. I've played a lot. I've played a lot. Just the Americans, I'm up to level 70. I play the Americans more than anything else, an American deck. I just started making. I have one. It's a USA deck. It's US and British, and I've done actually really well with it. what am I in? Major? I'm about to make major. Yeah, I'm kind of figuring out as I go. So I'm like, oh, okay. Well, if I there's a few more days left of this campaign or whatever the hell it's called. Let's see. How do I get to find out how many more days there are? Go there, here. Okay. Claim. I haven't made a single wild card. I don't know how that stuff works. I'm just kind of putzing around on ranks. Yeah, how many days? Four more days left of season, and I'm at major. So I need to hold that so that I can get two random packs. So then the next time I make it, I get a little bit better stuff. But I'm encountering a lot of people that are doing really repetitive stuff. So like I did not go and consult a place how to make a winning deck or something like that. I've spent zero money on it. And I'm running into certain different flavors of deck. So and that are basically like what I call like win at all cost deck, right? Like they'd be the equivalent of like a win at all cost player. I'll put this little guy right here, and they involve things using those fucking commandos, right? Where you just spawn a bunch of commandos, and every time you give an order, they give 1 point of damage to everybody. I mean, that's just like you wouldn't figure out how to do that. Somebody went to a website how to win a winning deck, and that must be one of them or whatever, right? I have not consulted one of those how to make a winning deck. I've just kind of like played a lot of games and like certain cards that do certain things. One of my favorite cards is the one that is the aircraft carrier that drops the. It's a 6 point card that drops a bunch of buffaloes. It drops 4 buffaloes when you put on it. That one's really handy, but you got to control the front line, otherwise it doesn't do you any good for that card. I play the Americans. I probably play the Americans the most. I don't like the ones that make the secret weapons. I don't have any of them, and they're a little too like not conventional. I really like the I really like the card that is the. There's an American infantry guy that is like a 5/4, and when he blows up, he gives you a counter, not a countermeasure, but the other thing. I don't remember what it is. I like that card a lot. But you have to make a deck with. The problem is I didn't go and read. Okay, you need to have this many twos, this many threes, this many fours, or I just kind of just winged it with the stuff that I have after I played it a while. Like I didn't make a deck right off the bat. Like I played it a long time to realize what cards I like and which ones I prefer not to use. Yeah, the commando thing is just stupid. It's a gimmick. It's a gimmick, and it's like a one. It's a one type thing. One thing's for sure: if you rush me and say, "Hey, what's taking you so long?" I'm running out the clock the rest of the set. Right? Like somebody says ZZ. Like one guy was like constantly hounding me. Like I'm his soul is slowly dying, and I'm like, "Fuck you," because I'm like I'm not trying to take a long time, but you're like giving me problems, and I'm trying to I don't think like the game moves slow, even when you're taking all the time. And I'll play quick. The problem I'm having with my deck is I don't have. I love the one that changes. It's a British card that changes their cost value. It takes their attack value and moves it to their cost value, and what's it called? I know what they look like. I just don't know what the hell they're called. Even though I've played the game a lot, I've probably played the game too much. But I've spent, I could walk away from it. I've got nothing other than entertainment and see where we could play here. I just don't know how to navigate this. Open packs, no cards. Okay, let's look at this deck here. I guess edit it. Okay, this has all the cards that I have. All right. Dilemma. Dilemma is a great card. And I found out like when somebody used it on me and I really didn't like it. This and the artwork on it is beautiful too. That's a great card. The Commandos, the only thing I've been able to deal with the Commandos is if you have the one that has like the bombing thing across the back. You know, the where you can like do a bomber attack and do like 3 points of damage on everybody on the back line or everybody on the whole board. But remember, you can't get that until you have like 7. So if it happens early in the game, you know, I just don't. I have a bunch of I have 4 dilemmas in my deck on purpose. You know, like anything that would drive me mad, I'm like, okay, I want to put that, give it to other people. I like the dilemmas. Um, I like, what else do we have here? I love the Shermans. I love dropping a Sherman after you have somebody on the front line. You get 2 other cards. Um, I like the P-51s. You drop a P-51 and it automatically kills any other aircraft that's already on the field. But I've noticed a lot of people don't use aircraft, so that's not that useful. I like anything that drops some immediate damage when you drop it on the board. It's like the B-25 Mitchell, 3 points of damage. You don't get to pick who it goes to, I think, but you get like a freebie, right? The B-17 Flying Fortress, you drop it, it kills 1 unit automatically no matter what it is. Stuff like that that's handy. So I have a lot of 5s. I run a lot of 5 cards. A lot of 5s. So if somebody gets ahead of me, it's because shit starts going down until I get to like 5 or 6, whatever. I got smothered by somebody with Japanese the other day. And it was like, they got those Japanese tanks that are like 0 attack or like 1 attack. And when you attack the headquarters, they get another 1. And it's like, the first turn they dropped 1, moved up, attacked him. Now he's a 2. The next turn they dropped another 1. That first one attacked. He's a 0 attack. So now he's up a 3, and the new one is a 2. So now I got a 3 and 2, and I'm fighting, and I got nobody to put on the front lines. I'm like, I got smothered with him. He dropped like 3 of those at once. You know. But the Commandos, the thing that helps is this is a card that I was telling you that blows up. This is like the only thing. The Commandos are a pain in the ass because you can't target them because they have smoke screen. That's the problem. This is an interesting card. The American Guard. It's a 6/7 with a value of 4. You choose a card in your hand and convert the top of your deck into it. Although I have a feeling that if you choose somebody else's card, it goes to their deck. I think it goes to the... I'm not sure about that. Like, I'm not an expert. I don't want to, I'm not a win at all cost. I'm just kind of having fun making tactical decisions. I love Death from Above. Can't have too many of those. Where's that card that... this card. 121st Infantry Regiment. Again, I don't know what division that's supposed to be. So, they have a blitz, which means you can drop them and attack somebody immediately as long as you've got the... It's a 5, and then it's a blitz 1, so that's handy. You need 6, you could drop him and like attack somebody next to him. He only has 4 health, but if he dies, he adds an outrage. And outrage is another way you can deal with those damn commandos. You have to have some anti-commando stuff because too many people, like the level where I'm at Major, half of the players are running commando stuff, probably. Half of the people are running commando. It is stupid because it's a gimmick, So, but I like playing the Americans. I like playing the Americans in that. Let's have a couple more palm trees. What do we need? Like smaller ones, maybe? Oh, it's not these. It's over here. I feel like we need one here. And that's why I do this. I had no intention of making these removable. I'm just like, okay, I'm a visual person. Like I need to see what the repercussions of putting something like this are and what it looks like. Maybe something with a little bit more meat. So when we put a hole in it, it doesn't just like collapse. Well, now we need to fire the thing back up again. The die bar. The problem with the cards that are really cheap, though, is that you can go through them really fast. So it's like a balance. So like I didn't build any decks. I played the pre-made decks. I have all those. So then you get the kind of experience. You get to experience something and kind of a lot of different stuff where you realize what you like and what you don't. I don't like stuff that's super defensive because it's almost like it's like DVA. You use your pips and then make the other guy react to what you want him to do. Not what you want him to do, but make him make a decision. These pre-made decks were actually pretty interesting. Um, Cards. Play. The fucking fins, man. That was a problem. Well, they're running these damn the suicides finish things. They're running that, or they're running commando stuff, or they're running. You got to make sure your headquarters doesn't get down to 3, to get down really low where they throw a Bismarck and knock out 8 and you're out of the game. At the beginning, it was people were running poles, all these little pole defensive things where they had all these little guard guys. There's nothing really annoying about the Japanese. Fighting the Japanese isn't particularly bad. Um, that's kind of the flavors that you run into, and then some people that are ones that are fun that are just like they're making stuff based on what you have. Now, if I wanted to make commandos, I don't know how many I've actually gotten because, like I said, I only would have whatever I found because I'm not spending a single dime on it. It's dumb to do that. It's like that's like for gambling people. Yeah, I don't have the gambling gene. I don't. Um, let's go to collection. Yeah, I don't know what to do with these damn coins. I think that hey, the coins would give you a different background or something like. No, you got to pay for all that shit. But I don't know how to make the wild cards. I haven't looked into that. I'm probably gonna have to look at that a certain time. Yeah, pedal to the metal. I ran pedal to the metal for a long time. I ran pedal to the metal for a long time. One of the most annoying things, and I don't know how to deal with it yet, is that damn comet, the ME 163 comet. They play it zero cost. It comes in and attacks your headquarters for like 4 points and then leaves. I don't know how to stop that. So don't let your headquarters get down low. I got a couple of 7s and I've got several of those add 3 to the Rosie the Riveter ones that add 3 to everybody and you get some defensive and you draw a card. And if you have wild cards, you can make the cards you don't have. Okay. I have a shitload of wild cards. I got a shitload. I got a lot. Anyways, the artwork's beautiful. Really, that's the reason I play it. You know, you go and you pull a card like this, and the next thing you know, I'm looking at Airfix, seeing what kind of British aircraft I can build. It's just beautiful artwork. Beautiful, beautiful artwork. There's like 2 pictures I don't like. That's pretty much like all the other ones. And a big reason that I'm doing the Pacific is because of the Pacific artwork. I mean, some of the Japanese stuff is really, really cool. Yeah, when you see people start dropping protected convoys, oh, here's a card that's a pain in the ass. Deal 1 damage to a friendly unit, deal 5 to a random enemy unit, and only costs 1. Mind if you add me on cards? Yeah, go ahead. You need my username? I don't know how to do that. Like I said, I just fumble around and do things, and you can't learn. But I'm playing a lot of like free stuff. I'm playing World of Warships. I'm playing World of Warships on the console. World of Warships on the computer. My buddy Don is really into War Thunder, so I've been playing that, learning how to play that, and that's fun playing that cooperatively. Like you could really, I've had screams of joy when I've nailed somebody. And can you show your username on screen? I can. El Bastardo. Yeah, didn't use one of my normal names for this. I didn't think I was gonna play this as long. Yeah. El Bastardo. I don't think I've ever looked at my stats before. What do we got here? Highest battle win stroke, 7. Unique cards, 744 out of 3519. What else does this have on here? Win 3 training games. How have I not won those? Win 500 PvP games. 138. I guess that's how many games I've actually played, 138. I feel like I've played more than 138. It's a great game. It's something to do. I need the 4 numbers that come after the username. Okay. No, don't change the portrait. I like that one. Profile. Nope. Profile. 3 numbers that come after the username. Mine doesn't have anything. Let's see if we got here. Okay. 5429. But like I said, the reason I play that big part is the artwork. It's beautiful. It's motivating. I wouldn't be doing the specific stuff without it. And it doesn't use a lot of oomph on your let's put another level here. It doesn't use a lot of oomph on your battery. So you can play it for a long time and not be connected to power. And those type of games, I've never played them before. But it's like Hearthstone. I played Hearthstone for a while, and I don't really like those Magic the Gathering type games. But Magic the Gathering looks like ass. This game looks good. I need your 4 numbers so I can report you. This guy was mean to me. It's a what about these little bastards here? The bastard. Yeah, let's get a couple of these guys going. games maybe want to paint Japanese planes. See? The artwork's beautiful. It's beautiful. It's motivating. You know, I don't care if I got to get more palms because that means, you know what? That means I used the ones I bought, which means it was the right move. And I don't know that I'm going to glue any of them down because I'm certainly not going to glue them down before I'm done doing the goop because I need them to kind of hold in place. Are Fujimi models all right to put together and paint? They're a little fine on the details. They're okay. Well, you know the gold standard is Tamiya. So if Tamiya makes the plane you have, get the Tamiya one. There is just, that's the gold standard. Okay, I think this is what we're going to go with as far as like play. Now, see, if I had some big rocks, like some decent sized rocks, I'm not going to buy them. I'm just fucking find them. Probably some at work. You could put like a couple little rock outcroppings just to kind of mix it up a little bit. I can always like add them afterwards if I wanted to, but so this is what we're going to go ahead and goop this down. I'm going to take a picture of this so I can remember where they each go. Kind of. It's almost kind of like wherever you bury the cash in the backyard. Right, you can start digging it everywhere for the holes because we do have to remove all of these. So I'm going to remove all these. These are the palms that go in this set, and then we will goop this. And this is the only part of the process I don't care for is I got to wait for the goop to dry. The plane I want is a variant, and the only one I found is by this Fujimi. Which plane is it? There's some really good looking Japanese planes, and there's some really ugly looking Japanese planes. And the ugly looking Japanese planes are planes you've never heard of. Or you may have heard of them, but most people have not heard of them. They're like Ann, and they have stupid names. I think Kates look really good. That Japanese fighter that they were going to make for the big super submarines. It's called a Sirian or a Sirian. That thing's beautiful. It looks like a ME-109 or a Tony on floats. That's a great looking plane. Great looking plane. And I mean, I can't help but learn stuff about the Pacific because it's not my main operation. I got to know what plane it is. They make some really cool flying boats. The Mavis and what's the other one? Good looking flying boats. Emily. One's bigger than the other. I can't remember. I can't keep those straight, and I can't keep the SDKFZs straight either. A big German half track. I think the 9 is a big, massive bastard. You massive bastard, you. I saw that a Val. Yeah, Val looks good. Mr. Tamiya died last week. Yeah. The gold standard. The gold standard. Nobody better. I was a huge fan of their paints. I don't. I'm not a fan of their paints now. They're just too finicky. I do like the fact that the whole top of their bottle is the color of the paint, and it's accurate too. Because if you got the top of a bottle of paint and it's not accurate, well, then what good is that? Oh, did I fuck up? I did fuck up. Let's see if I can unfuck this up. I left this in water. Because these stainless things will rust. Okay, we're golden. Guess we didn't leave it a week. Yeah, to me is the gold standard, man. Okay, this is the viejo one. It's going in the garbage. This doesn't, there's hardly any of it, and it's way too difficult to work with. That's fine. We have this one, and then we have a spare new one. So one thing I did with this base I had never done before is I airbrushed the black on a terrain base. And I feel like it saved me a lot of time because I was able to get into the nooks and crannies and not have to. And the reason I did it, oh, here we go. The reason I did it is I didn't want to put so much paint and make it so wet to get in all the spots that it would warp this. Now, I don't know if that means that this wouldn't warp anyways because it's cork, but I figured it wasn't worth the risk. So, Hayate. Uh-oh, we're going to have to look that one up. Hayate. I don't know much. I mean, okay, Hayate is also known as what? Frank. Okay, because I get Frank and Jack is the one that's like, yeah, all those late war ones. I like the Tonys. Sorry. Poor man's Messerschmitt. One thing that's a problem with planes is that if you play any kind of games that involve aircraft, at least for me, I played a lot of games that involved aircraft early on, but they weren't flight simulators. So what would end up happening is you'd play a game that had aircraft in it, and whether it's something on the level of like Panzer Blitz, I don't know. I know Panzer Blitz doesn't have aircraft, but something that's not an aircraft game. So in other words, aircraft come in some other form, whether it's Europa or it's something where you're using aircraft. And the quality of the aircraft and the quality of the pilot are both figured in. So you have this situation where you have to kind of unlearn that certain aircraft aren't awesome, even though if you play them in the game, they might be. Let me give you an example. The first flight simulator I ever played on my computer was called Combat Flight Simulator. Okay? Combat Flight Simulator, this was like 1999 or something like that. Combat Flight Simulator had very limited aircraft you could play. You could play, and I may get this wrong, you could play a Hurricane, a Spitfire, I don't remember which Spitfire, a 9 maybe, or a 5, P-51, P-47, Focke-Wulf, a Focke-Wulf a Messerschmitt G. I think their Messerschmitt was a G. Don't remember if they had a 262 or whatever. So, they have a Japanese plane? I don't think they had Japanese planes. Typical. The Pacific got ignored. And so forth. So you play this game with multiplayer and everybody's in a Hurricane. And you're thinking, well, that doesn't make any sense. The Hurricane was, of all those planes, not the best plane. But the problem is because it's a first person, like flight simulator. Of all those planes, the Hurricane turns the tightest. And that's what ends up happening is in when you're playing a flight simulator, a game that involves an aircraft that the turning rate, the dogfight's the best, ends up being the best plane because everybody goes in there with the idea of wanting to dogfight. Like there's nothing wrong with the Messerschmitt 109, but it's boom and zoom, and boom and zoom is not a lot of fun in a first-person shooter because it takes a lot of time. You have to plan it out. Very few people are going to do that. So you run into somebody like me who can't understand why a 109, which dominated the skies in a lot of areas, just isn't very good in that game. So you have to kind of unlearn, okay, you basically you can't throw in pilot skill because if you're unskilled, the pilot's going to be unskilled. But, not necessarily what makes a plane good is this dogfighting ability. Like, for instance, one plane that's terrible in a flight simulating game is an Oscar. The Oscar is extremely lightly armed. It's got maybe only one 30 cal machine gun and one 50 cal. That's really underpowered considering your opponent is the most armored. It's except for IL-2s. The American planes have more armor than anybody else, and the people that are fighting are the folks that are the least well armed. So it's like this big incongruency thing, and then you realize, oh, okay, well, the problem is that the Japanese pilots are really experienced at that time, same way the Germans were, because they had been fighting in China for several years. So they were really experienced, even though their planes were really, 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 really lightly armed. Yeah, I like anything in cards where you show up on the battlefield and you immediately do damage. Or to a lesser extent, blitz. You can show up and actually attack somebody, right? So you can get your hits in before you get picked on and nailed. But the commando thing's annoying. The finish one's annoying for a little while as well, but one thing's really annoying because there's a limited amount there's a limited amount of things in the game. There's a limited amount of instances something can appear. But if you have an ability that can regurgitate cards you've already played, that really makes a big difference. Yeah, if you tell me, hey, what's taking so long? You just damned yourself to me just using up the clock. I'm going to be done with all my choices, and I'm going to let it automatically time out. You need to chill. You need to chill your little ass. But there are some fugly looking Japanese aircraft. But they're ones nobody's heard of. It's not the Val. There's no way Tamiya doesn't make a Val. There's no way. Japanese. Uh-oh, what do we got here? Mr. Panzers is on. Oh well. I'm doing my own show, damn it. Japanese figures. Well, some of the ones that I got from Marcus are really nice, but they're plastic. So, if you don't like plastic figures, if you like white metal figures, and again, I'm not familiar with 28 millimeters. So if you want to go on the 28 millimeter scale, but if you're building that Val in 1/72nd, then shouldn't you be using 1/72nd infantry? But I've got some guys. The combat miniatures Japanese are I think really cool looking. And I want to say the ones that Marcus gave me were Strelets. But if you're interested in 1/72nd scale figures, there's this site called, which you could spend a lifetime on, called Plastic Soldier Review. And I don't know why it's called Plastic Soldier Review and all they have is 1/72nd scale stuff. Like, if you want 1/32nd scale figures, you're not going to find them on there. And there, it'll literally list every single figure they make. You can list it by country, by period. It shows pictures of every one of them and poses. It talks about the mold quality. Just a really cool. And this is why I bought more of this stuff, because we just killed that one. Makes a D3A1. Man, you're really getting into it. If you're into the different, I couldn't even tell you what the difference is. But you know, Stukas, for instance, I don't like the D Stuka. It looks a little too soft edged for me. I prefer the earlier Stuka. So I get it. There's probably some reason you like one and not the other. I don't know the difference between them of that particular aircraft. Only thing I really dislike about Japanese aircraft is this whole Zeke business. Like, nobody ever calls a Zero a Zeke, ever. Never. But, you know, there's things that are unusual that happen. There's a, and you may have heard about this. I know I've talked about this book before. There's a book that I finished recently that's written by I want to say he was a reporter. I don't remember what his name is, but he was interviewing people, and it's the focus of the book is around this particular gunner that was on the first Pershing that went into action, and it's called I think it's called Spearhead, and it's a pretty decent book. It's extremely tactical. It's worth reading, and I don't know where I was going with this. Shit. Don't know. I was going somewhere with it. How there's terms that are used a lot and you've never heard them in accounts or anything else. So for instance, in that particular book, they referred to it every time they referred to GIs, you know, US soldiers, it called them doughs, as in doughboy. I had never heard of them using that in a World War II setting. That is totally a World War I terminology. I've never heard doughs or doughboys or anything like that referred to American GIs. I have heard them referred to occasionally as by the Germans as Amis, as an Amerikaner, but that's also kind of unusual. That's not a, you know. But yeah, I've never Zeke. No, there's Zeros. You know, I mean, I know that's the official name was a Zeke, but I've never heard anybody refer to them as a Zeke in a movie or anything like that. Card games get really interesting. I take it you're not spending any money either. It's a lot. You don't have to spend any money. It's a lot of fun, you know. And besides, if you spend no money, you can say I didn't spend any money. If you spent $1, you no longer can you, in your repertoire of things you say, you can no longer say you have not spent any money. Hey, that stuff's important to me, you know. Like, I could say I'm never going to play DBA again, you know. Can't play DBA and say shit like that. No double talk here. The difference between DO1 and DO3 makes the people with the Chinese names rage quit. The difference between the D3A and the D3A2 makes the people with the Japanese names rage quit. Uh-oh. Oh, the actual card? I mean, now you got me excited. Now you got me thinking. Let's see if I've got either one of those two. Oh, no. I don't know how to navigate this thing. Many times I've played this. Yeah, I gotta do the missions. Or I can't get another mission. Been really good about it. 108. Yeah, I have 100 and what's this? 108. Yeah, I got 108 wild cards and I haven't used any of them. I think that's a lot. I'll probably watch a video on how to do that. But anyhow, let's see. I think I can go cards, and I think I can go collection, and I think I can sort by Japan. All right, let's see what we got here. Yeah, this Type 92 Yoyu Shokoshka is the one that is gets thrown at you a lot. Gets +1 when it damages HQ. I like the Akita regiment. It has a blitz. It's only a 2-1, but when it gets destroyed, it adds 2 damage to an enemy. Yeah, all this artwork for the Japanese is just like incredible. I'm like, oh man, I can't wait to build one. It's a DA2 smoke screen. Okay, has +2 attack for each other Aichi. Okay, I've never used those in combination. I've never used those in combination. I like the Kyoto regiment, where you drop it and you basically take somebody off the field. Such beautiful artwork. Blade of a Samurai. Yeah. This is another plane that's really pretty. This Gecko, that's a beautiful aircraft. Now, I don't know what the difference between that and a Toryu is. Both of those planes are twin engine fighters, I think. One of them might be a light bomber. Beautiful aircraft. Beautiful aircraft. Akita and the 15th Cavalry. Okay. Let's see if I have them both. I know I have Akita. That is the artwork from the Matchbox Japanese infantry set, the Akita, which I don't know what they look like. The Matchbox stuff is out of production. It's very, very hard to get a hold of. I believe that's the artwork for the Japanese for the Matchbox. Hopefully, they paid Matchbox for the rights. They didn't just rip all these people off. 15th Cavalry Regiment is another model thing. You saw my cover. You saw my cover thing on. Well, you're not on Facebook. Let me show you my cover on Facebook that I actually made using the artwork of this. The Not Too Specific Pacific. We got some Marines there, and we got some. Both of them are artwork from the game. Just beautiful artwork. And my profile picture is this guy right here. I love that style. It's almost like an oil. Slightly impressionistic, slightly comic book. I love, look at the background. There's stuff there, but you don't know what it is. Love that stuff. Love it. I was playing World of Warships the other day, and just something to do. It keeps me from building ships at 1/700 scale is what it does. And I ended up picking up the Aoba. Heavy cruiser. Yes. Oh, hold on. So I was using the Aoba heavy cruiser, and I realized that it has a camouflage scheme for it. Now I think the Japanese Navy only used camouflage schemes on major vessels, not until like late '44, like really really late. Pretty much they were a different version of four different blue grays based on the Navy Yard they were out of. Kure and Sasebo and or Sasebo. It's probably Sasebo. I don't know the Japanese and where they put their emphasis on their words. It's probably Sasebo. And they're all really similar to each other. They're like a dark gray, slightly blue. Some of them are just a tinge of blue, tinge of blue. Some of them a tinge of brown. But Gecko looks cool. I don't have that one yet. I don't have Facebook. I really hate that Mark Zuckerberg guy. Oh, you just don't like lizards. I use it for the hobby. It's great for the hobby. I get it. You know, it's one of the best things that ever happened for the hobby, in my opinion. If you get decent people on there, if you interact with decent people, you have a decent experience. If you interact with assholes, yeah, it's gonna suck. Like I don't have a use for Twitter because Twitter forces me to get feeds of things I'm not interested in. Like they always want to shove either politics or sports on you, and I'm like, I don't have. There's people that I wouldn't mind following, but they're like wargamer folks. It's not anybody famous. You know, so and that just doesn't compute with normal people. What do you mean you don't follow anybody? I'm like, I don't have any heroes. What do you mean you don't have any heroes? I'm like, I don't. You know? Show me a person that's worth hero worship, you know? But it's great for the hobby to get ideas and stuff. But I don't like Instagram. It's just it's clunky, you know? Yeah, yeah. I basically did take over the Yahoo. The problem with Yahoo is it was very emailish, and the problem with emailish is stuff. If you have any emails that are work related, you know that if you send an email to multiple people and one person responds to everybody, some people won't respond to everybody. Some people will not read anything that has been solved and try to resolve things that have been solved again. And it's exhausting the incompetence level of it. You can't like it's a pain to post pictures. You got to go to a hosting site and all that nonsense. I'm like, it's just too difficult. So like, which is the one that they used? Freaking Microsoft Teams. Oh, use this, and then nobody tells you how to use it. Like, I'm not inquisitive. I don't give. I just call people. You know. I call people and I write really clear work emails that don't have 12 different scenarios. Really weird people. There's some weird people out there, and I'm not talking about nerdy people. We're all nerdy to some degree or another. Everybody's nerdy. So my daughter started interning over the summer at a medical practice. And 2 days in, she's like, yeah, there's a local creepy guy there. I said, okay, tell me more about it. Right? Because I'll look the fucker up. I'll find out who we're dealing with. And apparently there's a guy that lives near where that practice is. She told me about what house it is, so I found out what the guy's name is. So I know who the guy is. I know how old he is and all that kind of stuff. Like, hey. But he apparently I don't think he's done anything. He's just acting weird. And I'm like, you know, we won't do anything to him yet, but you got to, and this was actually near a place that had a park that when my my wife had taken my daughter to go, they have this play set, and there was a guy, she swear, that was in the bushes looking at people like, you don't go to that park again. Don't go to that park again. You see something weird happening, don't go there. Go somewhere else. And it wasn't a place that was I'd say it doesn't look like a place that would be in a bad neighborhood or something like that. But like, you got to avoid issues like that. Yeah, there's a difference between like being weird and like being like you don't want your kids around them. Like that's they should have fixed that in freaking middle school. Straighten that person out. Well, unfortunately, this takes a little while to do, but I think the results are worth it. Although I've been uncommittal about it, these little plants aren't permanently attached in those places. What I don't understand about the internet is this. Whatever hobby it is that you find, it's going to be probably a very niche thing. There's not that many people that are into it. Most people haven't even heard about it. Can't we all just get along? But no, there's people out there that just want to be a dickhead all the time over everything. And it's like, you must live a miserable life. Because like I have to deal with stuff that I don't want to deal with on a daily basis. So when I'm not getting paid, I'm not dealing with things that are an issue. I'm like, I don't like that. I'm going this way. Like I don't like that. I'm gonna tell that guy I'm gonna like it and get in his face. I'm like, how much exactly does that pay for your troubles? And some people don't care. I've seen it before. I've played a game and people are going at each other, like typing and stuff. Like, you're a loser. I know you guys are just camping or doing all this kind of stuff. Like, nobody's going to change anybody's mind about anything. And it's just like, everybody's like freaking angry. Like, you need to go like in a parking lot and wallop on each other or something. And then film it. Pay-per-view. Parking lot wallopings. They probably had that already. Like those Asian girls that work at nail salons that get into fights. And not with the customers, and with each other. That's some violent shit. Cork is just amazing though. This is stuff that won't warp. Well, we'll find out if something like this won't warp. I mean, I guess it would warp at some point if it was like the dimensions were really not square, like I guess like a road bed or something. Whoop. Hobo fights. I see enough hobos as it is. I was just talking about that, man. That wasn't an issue in the 1980s or even in the 1990s. Now they're everywhere. I mean, I remember the 1990s really well. Like, they were yesterday. And weren't homeless people on the side of the interstate? On every exit of the interstate? It just didn't happen. But yeah, that cards game, definitely a reason I'm doing this. The kicks these Asian women have look dangerous. Big reason I'm doing this is because of that game. So what, if you friended me, what do we do? Now we can challenge each other to shit? Is that what it is? As one guy that I know that's doing all this AI animating figures and miniatures and stuff like that, and it looks like he's having a ball with it. Seems like, well, first of all, that app, the score on the app is way too low. I'm like, got a bad feeling about this, Sarge. And it's just like, I think that's just going to take way too much time. And I don't mind AI stuff if you can definitely tell if it's AI. But if you can't tell, I am not in favor of it. Animating little miniatures, that's cool, right? Because it's not a real person. They started popping up in my neighborhood all of a sudden. The Asian women, yeah, it's definitely a problem. It's definitely a problem, and I have my theories about what it is. I have my theory of what the biggest contributor to it is. I may not be right; it's just a theory, but I don't want my girls around them. If you don't care whether you spend the night under a bridge, there's something wrong with you. I mean, so like, stay away from my girls. I'll keep away from you, but don't get in my shit. Well, hopefully we can use this terrain for other things too. Gaslands, dinosaurs. God, I've played Gaslands so long. I'd have to relearn how to do it. I don't know if the author's still that involved in it. He moved on to that, making his Pacific game or whatever. I forget what this called. Not Nimitz. Although Nimitz is another one that I probably wouldn't. Pacific carrier game. I know, you better do it before Guadalcanal or the Japanese ain't got a chance. Those Essex class carriers start getting cranked out and it's over. I had this one guy that had his shirt over his head like a Beavis and Butthead screaming into the ether. Yeah. Yeah, it's yeah, you can't misbehave in Texas, man. They might, citizens arrest, you know? Citizens arrest without the arrest. I was surprised that San Antonio was that high up on the populated places. Like it's like number 10 or something like that. I'm like, when did this happen? I mean, I know Houston's big. I know Dallas slash Fort Worth is big, but San Antonio, I didn't think that was one of the big. But yeah, they're big. They're like bigger than Atlanta, I think, or something like that. I'm like, damn. We came. No, did we come really close to going to San Antonio? Austin. There was going to be a wedding in Austin, and then COVID happened, and then they had to make other plans. But Texas is an interesting place for sure. And I don't mean that ugly in any way. It's just it's different. Just like Tennessee's different. People say, "Oh, Florida's different." I said, "Well, you don't like it, get out." That's Get the fuck out of my state. And it's not the heat, man. It's the bugs. I mean, you go outside. I get it. It's 100 and something degrees. Okay, that's fine. You could take a shower, you know, whatever. The bugs will drive you freaking mad. You do any kind of yard work, and those gnats are just. We had a. What were we doing? Mother in law stepped out and was talking to somebody on the phone and came back in and didn't notice brought a wasp in, a mud dauber. Thing was huge. You know, it was articulated back. I think all about this big. Well, I don't think wasps are gross. They're just, you need to take care of them. So we got this tennis racket looking thing that somebody kind of gave us as a gaff. I think it's a gag gift. It looks like a tennis racket, except in the racket part, there's all these wires, and it's battery powered with two double A's, and you swat at things, and it zaps them. It's basically like a handheld bug zapper. Works really well for gnats, flies, anything like that, mosquitoes. Works really, really well. It looks like something that you talk somebody into buying it. It never works the first time. So I go grab the racket, and he's up on the 12-foot ceiling flying around. I'm like, we're going to be here all day. I'm not going to have that thing creeping up on me and getting stung by a mud dauber or a wasp or whatever. Creepy looking wasp. Because he's big, And finally get a hold of zap him. I had to jump and zapped him, whatever. And we couldn't find his body. Like, how the hell did he get knocked into, in the next week or something like that? Couldn't find him. We got white walls, so, a little black thing flying around that's relatively big. You can't disappear. Couldn't find him. Come around the corner, he was over in this window. Zap, kind of like half. Man, I heard him zap, but he's still flying. So I went and I got him and zapped him a couple more times. Then he ended up getting stuck to the racket. And he got fried multiple times. So I took him outside and knocked him off. And then a couple hours go by. I said, I'll get him later. He's over there by the door, over there beside the door outside. And the body disappeared. And I'm like, I guess somebody ate him, right? Because there's animals that eat wasps. I mean, they're badass little critters that they eat wasps. And I look over, and there's a wasp on the ground, kind of. So I think he survived, the death penalty. So that's fine. We don't even have to hunt him down. You can't be in the house. You can't be in the house ambushing us. That reminded me of that sticker that I see all the time. Well, I see it pretty frequently. Tell your cat I said. I'm like, so you're a pussy too. That's what you're saying. It is like I'm baking. I am spreading I'm spreading this cake, the frosting on this shit. I think if you ate this, this would do a number on your teeth. This is awfully gritty. It'd be like eating emery boards, emery board pasta. Yeah, only thing I hate about this is how long this takes to dry. But you do it once, you have to do it again. There's one friend of mine I used to go to concerts with in the late 90s. They were always in, little concerts. It was his local band that would come see him every time they came into town. 97, 98, 99, that kind of thing. And I remember we were going downtown, and this guy came up asking for money, and he just went from 0 to 100. Get away from me, I ain't got no money. I'm like, oh my God, this guy's going to fucking kill us. We ain't got any money for you. I'm like, shit, man, don't get us killed. I don't carry any cash with me. The hell's cash for other than an inconvenience? I was reading something the other day. I don't know whether it's true or not. It's the media, so you don't know whether it's true or not. Or things people post online. I'm not sure it's true or not, but supposedly if you invested $1,000 in Bitcoin in 2012, it's worth like 7.3 million or something like that. I'm like, would have been nice to have invested $100. 1,000, that's just, I'm not that kind of a risk taker, but I'm more risk averse than I am risk taking. If you ever make it Texas again, have the time, go to Fredericksburg, hometown of Admiral Nimitz, huge Pacific War Museum. I don't even know where the hell Fredericksburg is, other than it's in Texas. The last time I went to Texas, we were flying in when we had most of the day to spend in Houston. So we went to this rooftop bar before our flight. Or we had maybe half of a day or something like that. But we were just stuck in Houston. Let's find out where Fredericksburg. It's an opportunity to look at a map. Fredericksburg, Texas. Well, I haven't even been to. I've only been to Houston. Almost moved to Houston. Dad almost got a job in Sugarland instead of Gainesville. Why do I have a saved location in Ponder, Texas? I've never clicked on that before. It's now unsaved. It's weird. I've never even heard of Ponder, Texas. Must have been a fat-fingered situation. The problem with museums is the daughter can go, but the wife is not. She's not museum friendly. What did he do after the war? What did Nimitz do after the war? Now that I think about it, I don't remember. I don't know much about him. I know that I don't think he was very controversial. I think he was pretty well liked. Kind of like Eisenhower. The Pacific's Eisenhower. So. I'm enjoying reading about MacArthur. That's somebody I don't really know anything about. I always thought that he was controversial, but not compared to Patton. I think he's a lot less controversial than Patton was. I think Patton was very controversial. How far along are we until here? Okay. We got to paint some more plastic plants because the little ones. And I think what we're going to do is once we get this one done, we're gonna do these three palm things all the way up. We're gonna do the ground. We're gonna make specifically decide which plants we want. The ground coverage. I didn't want to do one and then be like, okay, well this doesn't look right because you're kind of looking at it in a vacuum. I can't believe you like that episode with. I can't believe you like that episode with the astronauts. Oh my god, I'm so angry. I got so fucking angry. So angry. I got so angry at the writers. I got so angry at the writers. Like, you guys, somebody needs to watch you guys. Like, to have come up with that. Like, that's a deviant type of thing. I mean, it was all well done, but and it was thought provoking. I would have never been able to write that. That's just doesn't, that wouldn't have occurred to me. What makes me mad with stories when I can figure them out before the ending. So I hate to sound like somebody that's stupid, but I rarely figure things out before the ending, and my mind's not there. I'm just kind of not, you know. Even watching The Purge, which I finally got around to watching the other day, a few months ago. And at the beginning, I didn't really know that it was going to happen the way it was going to happen. Like that the kid was going to let somebody else in. Like I had no idea that was the way in. And maybe I just don't think that way. You know, I'm not trying to get extra points by trying to read ahead. I don't know. My wife and daughter are the opposite. They figure shit out before whatever. Oh, I just want to figure what's going to happen. I'm like, I don't try to figure things out. You know, it's not like I'm a sleuth or something, you know. But just stupid old Tony, just plugging along, just enjoying it, you know, for what it is. But yeah, I would definitely say it has an unusual ending. You know, it was just very it was unsatisfying. Like I don't like there's part of me that just does not like when bad stuff happens to people that don't deserve it. I know that happens in everything, but like there was no payback, right? Like the people that committed the crime got away with it. Um, I just it really bothered me. It really bothered me. There was no justice there, and I'm not saying that paying people back is a fair trade, but at least something got happened to them. It's not like you can keep doing that to other people. Like one thing that really kind of I caught glimpses of it. I've never seen these movies. These, what are they? The Final Destination movies. I've never seen those movies, and I probably will never will watch them because they're just. I have a feeling that they really would be a whole lot of. I caught a glimpse of one of them that was, I guess, the latest one or whatever, and it has to do with that Seattle, whatever that space needle or whatever it is. Just like all kinds of just like catastrophic things going wrong and people on fire, and I'm like, what did these people do to deserve this? It's just like it's like way over the top, gratuitous violence to civilian people that didn't deserve any of it. It's just like it just really bothers me. I don't like seeing that, you know. I wish I could be like that, but I write, so I understand techniques and story structures. Yeah, well, we're all programmed differently. You know, I can't help but if I'm doing some kind of a setting that is like, I remember when I was a kid, I was watching one of the movies I used to love watching because it was on all the time, was Guns and Navarone. And I'd be poring over the maps trying to figure out, you know, and as a kid, I could never understand why would you make up a place? You know, we have this world that has all these cool places in it. Why wouldn't you just use one of the places that already exist instead of creating something? So I was always trying to find where this was on the map, and that's something that's always maps. Always, I always have that reaction with maps. I'm always trying to figure out where things are on a map. I can't leave it alone. Oh, it's over there somewhere. I'm like, show me a map. I want to see on the map what's around it. That kind of stuff. That's like an important part of who I am. Might not be important to other people, but ¿dónde carajo está the bag of things? So I'm always looking at things on map. What's around it? Talk about Fredericksburg, Texas. I can't leave that alone. I gotta see where it is on the map. All right. Where is the bag for wash things? Here they are. Okay. These have already been detergent added to them. All right. So what I realize is I don't like these red ones. These ones that have a red tint. Maybe they might be useful for other things, but as soon as I put them in here, this looked hokey. This looked absolutely hokey putting these in here, even with a black wash, with a brown wash. So I'm not saying I'm not going to use them, but they're not going to go on these palm tree stands because they just look really out of place. Really out of place. Where is the Los Tweezers? There we go. And my old friend, Strong Tone. Yeah, you can't help how you are, you know? People are a certain way. Yeah, I really like revenge stuff. I do. Just like, what was that movie that I saw recently? Sicario. Okay? I actually enjoyed that movie more than I thought I was going to enjoy it. Now, despite what's his name, Del Toro, I don't think he actually can speak Spanish worth a damn. He mumbles, and I didn't understand what the hell he says in English or Spanish, but he uses subtitles or whatever. So, that actually had an ending that I approved of. It might have bothered other people, but I actually approved of that ending. Just to mention a movie that I've seen recently that people might not have liked the ending of. You like Korean movies? You love revenge. Yeah, maybe I'll look into that. Revenge makes sense. You know, I'm not going. I'm saying going after people for no reason. Like, look, these people fucked your life up. Time to pay their ass back. Especially like, oh, there's nothing we can do about it. The law can't do anything. Okay, well, it's time to take your law in your own hands. Yeah, I do love revenge stuff. And I don't like horror when things happen to pretty girls for just because they're pretty. I don't like that. All right, how? Yeah, and these actually look. And I haven't even touched them. I haven't even doctored them up any. And I probably am to some degree. Sympathy for Mr. Vengeance and Old Boy are the ones people like a lot. Okay. Old Boy sounds very boring. Is it the Japanese that can't pronounce R's or all Asians? L's, sorry, L's. Or is it not even true? It might not even be true. Fakery. This is how we had this thing gripped. I take it you've seen that Squid Game? I haven't. Um, Mitch really liked this zombie movie. I don't remember what it is, and I want to say it's Korean, where it's some girl that knew she's the zombie. I forget what it was. I didn't care for it. And she knows she's infected, so she took out her vengeance by going after people, and she like dies at the end, but takes like a whole village down. I'm like, I didn't like that. I didn't like that. I didn't like that movie at all. Whatever the hell it was called, it had a zombie tiger in it. I remember that. That was actually kind of cool. And he was telling me about some other Korean movie that had zombies. Yeah, I'm not really a fan of zombie stuff, other than the fact that it creates a situation where there's no rules and you have to make them up. So you have this like relative morality thing going, which I do appreciate that. The zombie part I really couldn't care less about, but it's the other stuff that goes along with it. I haven't seen Squid Game. I'm not into Korean movies that much, or those death game movies. Yeah, I'm not really sure what it is. First of all, when they were advertising, it made it sound like it was a real game, but it's a movie about a game that you win a lot of money, but you're risking your life kind of thing. I'm like, it doesn't sound like a plot that is something I would watch. That's not really. But Mitch did get around to seeing Wicker Man. I didn't like the fact that there was no justice in it, though. I think Christopher Lee's paying for it right now. I was just an actor in a movie. Sorry, we're gonna get you back for that. Oh, just a part. But I did like that movie. So typical. I don't think you've recommended anything that I haven't enjoyed. Now, I didn't enjoy something and then you said you liked it. That's different. That's not one of your recommendations. So, but then again, you didn't say that you actually like these two Korean things. You just heard that they're popular. I see how you left yourself an out on that. Hey, it's fair enough, you know. I like to say all Korean movies fall into three R's: romance, redemption, and revenge. So, yeah, and they're really big on historical stuff. The Chinese do some historical stuff. I don't know what the rest of their movies are like. I tried watching that 800. Oh my God, what a propaganda film! I thought Russian war movies are big propaganda. Well, the Chinese ones are just horrendous. But I actually got better. But it's dubbed. Like I can't stand dubbed movies. Just speak in the native tongue, please. You know, I'm gonna put on subtitles anyways. It's an opportunity to learn what the language sounds like if it's one you're not familiar with spoken. Yeah, I'd start playing some Japanese ships on War Thunder. They speak the native language. Actually, they do in World of Warships also. And the Japanese are definitely, I don't know what the hell they're saying, but they're not happy about it. Well, so is the same thing with the German crew. I'm playing this German crew in War Thunder, and they get really agitated. Really, I'm like, well, I don't know what the hell you're saying, but you are not enjoying this one bit. CCP has ruined the. Yeah, I like Chinese stuff. I just hate CCP shit. You know, screw those guys. But I love the Chinese. I love the Chinese history stuff. And to be fair, okay, to be completely fair, there are probably plenty of regimes that happen in China that are infinitely worse than the CCP is now. I mean, the first emperor of China was probably a royal dickhead. But the reality is that he ain't around anymore, right? So he's not inflicting anything on us. You know, he's got no pull. But he was a horrible individual, but still really interesting. You know. So I saw something that came up on a reel or something like that, and it was this guy that was using a costume to dress up at like a Chinese fair, like a parade fair. And I didn't know it was in China, but once I saw the costume, I'm like, oh my God, he looks like freaking Lu Bu, and he's some Monkey King. But the Monkey King, if that's the Monkey King has all of the Lu Bu garb from the video game. You know, with the peacock. I mean, you see that, I'm like, that's Lu Bu, right? Like nobody else looks like that. You know, badass Lu Bu. And Lu Bu might have been a candy ass in real life, but in those video games, he looks pretty freaking cool. I don't ever want to play that battle again with the that you have to like beat him so many times. I'm like, it's exhausting. My fingers still hurt from trying to knock him out. That or that the guy that's the barbarian dude that you have to kill 6 times or whatever. What a pain in the ass that guy. Meng Huo or whatever his name is. If I got that right, I'm like, that's a miracle. Hong Kong used to make great movies. Yeah. Oh, hold on one second. Hong Kong used to make great movies. Well, they shouldn't have given it back. Sorry, we changed our mind. You don't get it back. Sorry about that. Can't do that anymore. They got rid of the fleet. No British fleet to say, screw you. The only thing that I can think of right now that I dislike about the old Chinese as opposed to the CCP Chinese is Chinese stuff not written in pinyin is weird to me. They got these accents in places that they shouldn't be. I don't like the old spelling of things. It's weird. I think it's the accents. The accent, the little apostrophes in the middle of things are just they look weird. Yeah, the way I couldn't remember what it was called. Yes, man, I don't do DBA stuff anymore, man. I forgot. Yeah, I don't like the Wade one. It's because of the apostrophes. I think time's running out for me to actually see them open that mausoleum of the first emperor. Man, I hope I get to see that. They may just be, like, oh, well, we don't have the way to make sure nothing gets destroyed that comes out of that. I don't know. I think that might be part of the reason. The other part might be reason is, they don't want to open up and then realize all there is a half-eaten corn dog in there. Like, it makes their whole society seem like less than it was, you know. You think all these rivers of freaking mercury and stuff, and you end up getting a half-eaten an an egg roll that's been half-eaten. Oh, they fuck us big time. Yep. It's it's super interesting. It's super interesting. Whatever happened to that terror? Wasn't it somebody that went in there and like tripped over and fell in? I don't know if it was on purpose or whatever. They went and broke a couple of the terracotta warriors. I'm like, ooh, I'd hate to be that guy. Oh, you fucked up now. Hate to be that guy. I don't know whether it was intentional or. Yeah, I don't like the modern Chinese, but even though I do have modern Chinese ships. I do have modern Chinese ships. But the ancient Chinese are cool. Definitely. I don't like the modern Chinese, and I don't like the ancient Mongols. I am not a Mongol fan. Yeah, that person that broke in there, man, they're in hot water. Probably literally. You'd break all the mirrors in the house if I did that. Six, seven. You know what? I bought like a 50 pack of these. I'm glad I did. You know, the purchases that I made of this stuff actually, for once in my life, were wise. Let's get another one of these pieces here. For once. And I try to use plants that don't look like largely out of scale. Because sometimes I say, man, it's a good looking game, but what is that man eating plant that you're standing next to? What in the what in the tails of the gold monkey you're standing next to? You ever watch that show as a kid? That Make Believe Island with over the top stuff. You hope to add Chinese to cards. I don't know, would you want to play them? I don't like commie Chinese. Give me any kind of Chinese other than commie Chinese. Nationalist Chinese would be alright. I mean, they're probably just as bad as anybody else, but you know, it's the thought that counts. I want to see what those Chinese figures are that manufacturer makes. They make some really interesting stuff. I just don't know what the hell they look like. Because I could use this. I could use this stuff for China. I could use Chinese figures in this kind of terrain. It just wouldn't be an island. It'd be somewhere else. Paint some nationalist Chinese. Nationalist Chinese vehicles. That'd be cool. It'd be unique. All right, we're gonna coat all these, and then we're gonna stop. At this point, I see no Anzacs or allied country in Asia. I just didn't figure out how to do it. Well, the Japanese would only have Thai, right? The Thais were allied with the Siam was allied with the Japanese. I don't know how they treated them. I bet if the Japanese would have won, they would have treated them terribly. The Japanese treated their own troops terribly. That's the thing that I just can't understand. I can understand, being like nationalistic and like, exploit other countries. I mean, it doesn't make it right, but I mean, I get that. But you're like taking it out on your own people. Like, not exactly a regime I'd want to fight for when my own people are treating me like crap. Like, dude, I'm fighting for you guys. Oh, too bad. We beat you anyways. We only beat you on days that end in Y. You know, like, thanks, Sarge. The ones, is it the ones from Stonewall? I don't know. They have some guys with like hand weapons and stuff like that. I mean, it came out of nowhere. I'd never heard of that before. Like, that's really interesting. I know that guy that does Wargaming China. I think he makes all of his figures, which I'm not about to do because, like, first of all, I can tell that they're the wrong figures because, like, I made them, and second of all, you know, I'm myopic as hell, so I'm like, I can't pull a fast one on myself for that. I still haven't been able to find who's that people, the people that make the like 20 millimeter like African adventure type figures, you know, like the Indiana Jones type of tramp steamer crew, and somebody like that makes it. I bet I could ask on one of the 20 millimeter forums, they'll know. It's just really interesting. It wasn't 3D printed. I don't think it was 3D printed. It was like, you know, Indiana Jones type explorers and stuff like that. And they had like multiple. They had like 12 people that were part of like this merchant crew, and like I think like even two sets of them. It wasn't like, oh, you know, you get two guys or whatever. Like, no, it's like a whole freaking crew. And I don't think they were carrying rifles or anything. They were just like, you know, doing whatever it is that they're due. And as soon as I see some wildlife, I'm gonna get some because I'd love to have like a water buffalo or, you know, a cranky leopard or something like that. Some tiger that's on, you know, cocaine, cocaine tiger. The tiger's over here and his stripes are over there. Bill the cat is a tiger. Whiskers standing straight up. I totally would paint a tiger. Hey, on this island, there's tigers and Komodo dragons. I don't know. Rhinos. Japanese get charged by a rhino. Man, those headhunters that I saw that showed you the picture of, Ben, those were some amazing looking guys. They made figures like that. That'd be pretty awesome. Elheim. I don't think it's Elheim because Elheim has really weird looking people. They look very. The sculpting style of Elheim reminds me of Eon Flux. They almost look Eon Flux like. You know, the cartoon series. Which is almost like Borderlands in a way, ish. I bet the people that design Borderlands like Beyond Flux. Makes sense. Daughter wanted to play a video game. I want to link up the two Xboxes, see if we can play some Borderlands. That's some funny shit in there. Funny stuff. All right, so let me go out on a limb, okay? I could totally see an island, since we're doing make believe islands, right? Where you could have some World War II forces, and all of a sudden, like a dinosaur appears. I know that sounds crazy, but it probably would work if you did it right. Of course, I have to get new dinosaurs. That Stegosaurus that size is just that eat a whole platoon in one bite. I can't believe so many of you people saw Last Dinosaur. I tried watching it. I looked it up on YouTube and I saw one scene. And I'm like, oh my god, this is like the worst acting. I've never seen acting this bad ever. I don't know what's worse, acting or the hairstyles. Yes. Yeah, I think a dinosaur would work. I mean, I don't want to go into the fantasy thing, but it needs to be fun. You know, fun is the number one thing. It needs to take you to somewhere different. So, I haven't watched the video yet. I think it's a video. It might just be a post. I hope it's not a post. I hope it's a whole video that Storm of Steel just did about landings on some place I'd never heard of before. So I looked it up, and it was in the Philippines. I'm like, all right, well, we'll have to watch that video later. It came on this morning, or I got a notification about it this morning, and haven't had a chance to, really look at anything other than just get on here, make coffee, and last at least once a week. Well, the tune I think of, okay, so I watched enough of it to catch a tune, which is funny because I've only seen that movie maybe one time all the way through. And I may have only seen it on two occasions ever in parts. And that tune reminded me of it. Like I remember having heard it. I don't remember what it is about it. It's like, it's funny you should say that. I don't remember too many things from the '70s aren't really noticeable, but certainly the thing that's the most memorable is anything that revolves a Battle of the Planets. Man, I was a huge Battle of the Planets fan. Huge. And if that's considered anime, which I think it is, that's probably the only anime I've ever liked. Loved that as a kid. And I'm not a superhero person. Never was, but last Dino movie religiously as a kid. I mean, I'm a huge dinosaur fan. Were you a huge dinosaur fan? I'm a huge dinosaur fan. I still am. But my dinosaurs don't wear feather boas. Ain't no feathery dinosaurs. I'm old school. This ain't no woke dinosaur crap. My dinosaurs are asleep, not woke. Here's a brontosaurus. There's no brontosaurus. Well, there isn't this island. Get the fuck out. Drown this guy. Oh, man. Yeah, dinosaurs are awesome. So you'd be a big fan of me doing Cretaceous. Well, I'm just enjoying, daydreaming about different things. But I think doing the terrain is the right way to go. This is definitely the right tack. work on a fictitious setting, or work on a setting, and then the other stuff around it. All right, how many plants have we just put together? Ay, carajo. Okay, so we got all these washed. Got those two things dry. I'm probably not going to mess with the other one, the other base bit's done, until this one's done as well. And you know what? This could probably stand. You know, I guess I don't have any. I need to go on a hunt for some rocks. You know, because this could totally use, you know, some rocks. I'm gonna make one of these as like an outcropping. You know, like some. You'll know when I see it, but it's got to be kind of flat so you can put figures on it. You don't want it to be like some kind of point and be like, yeah, there's a guy there. Although I guess I could use stickum. Use a piece of stickum underneath it and he'd stand there. You know. Have you learned about the history of the bone wars? No. No, are they fighting over like dinosaur bones or something like that? People fight over anything, don't they? Can't we all get along? Apparently not. Nope. Can't be done. All right, folks. Thanks for